Joke overview.
看笑话。
Healthy skin. After long hours of housework, a wife switched on the radio that her husband had bought for them. If your skin is pink and your hair is soft, that means it is very healthy. The wife looked in the mirror and smiled. She decided to tell her husband what she had heard. The announcer started again. Thank you for listening to our How to Raise Pigs section. Key words.
学词语。温柔，
Gentle,
温柔，温柔。老公，
husband,
老公，老公。健康，
health,
健康，健康。温柔，老公，健康。温柔，老公，健康。温柔，老公，健康。
Make a sentence.
学句子。我的妻子很温柔。
My wife is very gentle.
我的妻子很温柔。我的妻子很温柔。
Review.
复习。温柔。老公。健康。我的妻子很温柔。
Healthy skin. After long hours of housework, a wife switched on the radio that her husband had bought for them. If your skin is pink and your hair is soft, that means it is very healthy. The wife looked in the mirror and smiled. She decided to tell her husband what she had heard. The announcer started again. Thank you for listening to our How to Raise Pigs section. Do you understand?
你明白了吗？
Now I will give an introduction to the 11th basic knot, the love knot. When we hear the name of this knot, we can tell it is the most adored knot. Because every person has experienced love, the love knot is often used to express our feelings of kindness and friendship. Let's begin to learn how to tie a love knot. The knotting method is quite interesting. Take about 60 centimeters of string, fold it in half. Why is it called a love knot? There is a crisscross shape in the center. Also, it is completely symmetrical. After we fold it on half, place one string tail to the left and one to the right. The string on the left makes a common knot. We take the moving string and turn it counterclockwise, placing it underneath here. Pay attention, wrap it counterclockwise and make sure the moving thread is underneath. Then we tie a simple knot like this. We are going to make a fully symmetrical shape. The right strings like this. Look, the right string is also a common knot. It is the most simple type of tie. There is something particular to notice here. In the love knot, the left and right loops are joined together like this. Now take the right string hand, open the crossed part of the loop, and pull out and pull through the left side loop. The left side loop like this. Now take the crossed part of the left loop, open the crossed strings, pull through the right side loop. The right string pulls through the left loop. The left string pulls through the right loop. Now we make adjustments to the structure and tightness. We have completed love knot that is skillful, simple, and basic. This love knot is symmetrical from front to back and left to right. This knot is different from the wish knot. This love knot looks similar, but we look at the side of the knot, we can see obvious differences in the form of the knots. The tying method is skillful and simple. Most importantly, the love knot is principally used as in knot hangings. When we give knot compositions as gifts and make decorative hangings, the dangling love knot composition will transmit your feelings as they are embodied in the love knots. In this way, the love knot is artful and widely used. Let's make another love knot. Take a 60 centimeter length of string, fold it in half. Take the left string in hand and wind it around counterclockwise. The moving string is placed underneath. This makes a common knot tied from top to bottom. Remember that the right string in the love knot must become connected. Otherwise, the tying method is the same. Thread the right string through the loop you just made. Remember, wrap it clockwise, cross it over the top of the string, and thread it through from below. These two loops are ingenious tied together, giving it its name. Now, take the overlapped parts of the string and open them up, pulling the left side of the loop through. In the same way, we make it symmetrical. Open the left side crossed strings and pull the lower part of the right loop through. Make your adjustments to the size and shape. Now we have a lovely love knot. It conforms to the principles of Chinese knotting. There is symmetry on all sides, front to back, left to right, top to bottom. The next knot we will study is the peepaw lute-shaped button. This knot is most often used in clothing. It is also a distinguishing feature of the Chinese national culture. This is one of our basic knots. First, take two lengths of string. One should be about 1 meter long, the other should be 90 centimeters. Because of the structure of buttons has a right side and a left side, we start using the longer string. That is to say, buttons have two sides that fasten together. First, we need to tie a jewel knot. Here, we can review the tying method for the precious stone knot. Let's begin making one. Wrap it around the index finger. We will use the longer portion to make the button. The shorter portion is tied around, crossed over and pressed through to make a small flower basket shape. The left side string tail wraps around the right side of the basket, piercing through the basket handle. The right side string tail wraps around the left side of the basket, piercing through the basket handle. After making a few adjustments, we will have a complete jewel knot. Make gradual adjustments.
Sudden love. One night, a small female cat was running after a small mouse at a corner of the city. The mouse was forced to run from right to left and finally retreated to a corner of a flower shop. Since it had nowhere else to hide, the shivering mouse flung himself against the wall. Suddenly, the mouse found a rose dropped by his side, and he picked it up immediately with the intention of using it as a weapon to fight against the cat. Dumbfounded, the cat dropped her head and said in a shy voice, "Dear, this is too abrupt." Have the boss. A man who doesn't know any French goes sightseeing in France. He walks into a restaurant, but he can't figure out what is on the menu. His pride won't allow him to show his ignorance of French, so he recklessly points at a line on the menu and says, "I'd like to have this one. I think it must taste wonderful." The waiter looks surprised. "That's our boss." The most cheerful audience. During a boxing match, a boxer has his teeth smashed out. All of the audience feels terrible, except one who looks very happy and enthusiastic. A curious audience member can't help asking him, "Sir, are you a boxing coach?" "No," he replies, I'm a dentist. To find joy in one's own way. One day, Alexander Dumas went to a German restaurant. He wanted to try German mushrooms, but the waiter did not understand his French. He had an idea. He drew a mushroom on the paper. The waiter understood and left. Alexander Dumas was glad, and he was thinking, my drawing is not as good as my writing, but I can express myself with it. A quarter of an hour later, the waiter returned holding an umbrella and said, Sir, here you are.
Adjust again until the knot has a round shape. Just like a ball, this is a complete jewel knot or gem knot. The pipa button knot resembles the shape of a Chinese lute called the pipa. Continuing, there are two strings below. One is long and one is short. Ignore the short string. Place the piece in your hand to start tying. We will be working on our skills, practicing our control as we master this knot. Put the short string in your hand. Place the long string against your ring finger, making a loop up and around. The size of the loop depends on experience. Let's try to make it about 5 centimeters. In the front here, fix the two strings by crossing them. Next, we make another loop of the same size, again using the ring finger for control. Make sure the length is correct. With control, make the third loop. Let me try to show the structure. Although it is not complete, the complete button will have this shape. Based on the size required by the garment, or the type of garment, this button can have unlimited loops. I designed this button to have 4 loops. When I have wrapped all 4 loops, the string tail is threaded through. Good. The main part of the pipa button is complete. We should also pay attention to the materials we are using. If we use cotton thread and a sewing needle, we can sew the 2 string tails together. And that's okay. This part of the 4-loop button can be stabilized and strengthened using a needle and thread. This ensures the knot maintains its structure. This is 1/2 of a complete pipa button. If we were using synthetic fiber string, we could use a lighter to melt the ends when the button shape is complete. Now let's make the second half of the button. This time, let's use a synthetic fiber. We know that a button has a 2-sided structure. In this way, the first half of the pipa button is made of a jewel nut. The second half does not need a knot. Rather, it simply requires a loop. Take the string in hand, make the short length into a loop, make that fits around the jewel knot. Now we repeat our previous sequence. This process requires a little experience. If you have experience making this loop, you will have a feeling for how large it needs to be to fit the first half. My design is a 4-loop button. Third loop, fourth loop. This is a 4-loop pipa button, so we stop tying here. The moving string is threaded through the center of the pipa button. Adjust the tightness. Pay attention to this loop. It is quite important that it is not too big or too small. Make sure it is easily to hook over the jewel knot. This is the general structure. If we are using synthetic string, we can use the lighter to deal with the 2 hanging string tails. Because of the shape of this button, handling the tails is easier here. If the shape is completely circular, we need to use a needle and thread to stabilize and fix the piece. Now we can see the result, a beautiful button form. Take a look. When we study Chinese knots, we can see that they serve not only a decorative purpose, but can also have an important practical value. This kind of button, regardless of whether it is used for contemporary fashions or traditional costumes, they will certainly elevate the status of any garment or accessory. We can see that Chinese knots are not simply decoration. They can also serve an important function. Whether we are making knots for clothing or decoration, when we make this kind of handmade button, we surely add much enjoyment to our lives. We all might as well try. That is all for the introduction to the pipa button knot.
Surprise! Mr. Wang and his wife have been arguing about buying a car for several weeks. Mr. Wang wants to buy a truck, but his wife Jennifer insists on buying a small sports car that she can drive fast around the city. "Look," she says, "that is the only thing I want. My birthday is coming soon. Don't you want to give me a surprise? I just want a machine with a meter that can accelerate from 0 to 200. Not wanting to let his wife down, Mr. Wang buys a brand new bathtub and a bathroom scale for her birthday gift. Complains. The teacher said to Zhao Ming, "I will complain to your father if you continue to be so naughty." Zhao Ming replied to the teacher, "I am not satisfied with you either, but I have never complained to your father." price. Zhao Jia takes her husband to a fashionable clothing store. She wants to buy one of the fashionable items. She puts on one dress and models it for her husband in front of the mirror. She looks at her husband and says, "Let's buy this one. Such a pretty dress makes me feel 6 or 7 years younger." Her husband checks the price, $1,000. He said, "But such a high price makes me feel 7 or 8 years older." Call the police. One day, the police station received a telephone call whose voice was very urgent. "Sir, help! Please help quickly." "Take it easy, miss. What has happened?" "A cat is climbing into my room." "It won't be a problem." Yes, that cat is very dangerous. That cat is very dangerous." "Don't panic, miss. A cat is not dangerous at all." "Sir, is this police station 110? If yes, you must come to save me since I called you. Be quick. The cat has come in. It's dangerous." "Who are you, miss?" I'm a parrot, answered the voice at the other end. Who is that? A mother asked her kids to go to bed. Then she removed her makeup, washed her hair, and put on her pajamas. A loud noise came from her kids' room, and she lost her patience. She wrapped her hair in a towel and rushed into their room yelling. She ordered them all to go to bed. After she left, the 3-year-old girl asked, "Who is that?" French pub. One night in Paris, France, an American tourist walked into a pub by the river. After several drinks, the tourist found he was the last customer except for one other man who buried his head upon a table in the corner. He called the waiter to pay the check. "It's not time, not yet." "Well," responded the American, "but that gentleman must have slept there long enough. Why don't you send him home?" "Well, we'll do that when our boss says yes. He is our boss's favorite customer. Each time we wake up that gentleman, he pays the bill again and again.